Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Amy here. So today we're going to be talking about some September new releases that I'm looking forward to, or have that maybe caught my eye, or that look interesting to me. Somewhere around there. And I know I'm probably overlooking so many books, but I just didn't see anything that popped out at me for September as much as it did for August. So maybe I'm just missing some things, I don't know. But once again, we're a little later on in the game with this video. I'll try to do better with these. But anyway, we'll start out with the ones that of course have already been released. I have one that was released on September 2nd, which I'm really super excited about this one because this one is jumping off of the Licking Thicket series by Lucy Lennox and May Archer. So excited for this book. This is Hijacked. It's called A Licking Thicket Horn of Glory, book 1. So I can't wait to find out what that means. In this book, we follow Carter. Carter Rogers. He was actually introduced in, was it the last Licking Thicket book? I think so. I think it was, yes. He was introduced in that one. He was actually a good friend of one of the main characters. Oh my god, I can't believe names are not coming to me. But anyway, he is a cardiologist. So one of his friends was the doctor in the last book. Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, so we get Carter's book this go around, which I'm really excited because I really liked Carter in that last book, and I was like, we've got to have a book with Carter. There was just too many scenes with him, and I just really liked his personality and just him in general. So yeah, so I'm super excited to get his story. Not sure, the synopsis is very, very small. It just says Carter's peaceful, well-planned life has been hijacked, in short. Looks like he may be getting kidnapped. There is a very hot, very mouthy ex-soldier from his past. Just lots of things going on in Carter's life, and I can't wait to find out what happens. Okay, spoiler alert, these next two books are actually my September Book of the Month picks. So this will be the official showing of what I picked for my September Book of the Month. I chose two, of course. I rarely choose one. Lisa Jules, The Night She Disappeared, and Alice Feeney, Rock, Paper, Scissors. So these were my Book of the Month picks for September. This was actually just an add-on. This was part of the Thrills and Chills. It wasn't actually a pick for Book of the Month. This was a pick for Book of the Month, and this is the little, I tend to get lost, little bookmark that we get in this month's box. So Alice Feeney, Rock, Paper, Scissors. Alex Feeney is kind of an auto buy for me, even though I have not read His and Her. Is that the name of it? His and Hers. Yes, I haven't read it yet, but I will be in a very near future. I have loved everything that I have read so far by Alice Feeney, so I'm really looking forward to this one. It's a fairly short book, not quite 300 pages, 291 pages to be exact. This says, think you know the person you married? Think again. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of secrets, and an anniversary they will never forget. They went a weekend away in Scotland, but they didn't just randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. So always up for a good Alice Feeney. And then of course, same with Lisa Jewell, just an auto buy for me. The Night She Disappeared. Loving the cover. I love the back. Just looks creepy. It's like an underwater, maybe like a pool at night. I don't know. It looks really creepy, and I'm all about it. This says, a riveting novel about an intricate web of people whose lives are forever changed in the wake of a young couple's disappearance. So we have a very young couple is what it looks like 19 years old. They just had a baby and they're going for a night out since their baby was born. This is their first night out since the baby was born. It's a party at a massive country estate of a new college friend. Seems like the perfect way to unwind until morning comes and the two don't make it home. It looks like the case runs cold a year later. Someone moves into their cottage. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. Sounds really good, just kind of skimming over it. Yeah, really looking forward to that. Going back to male romance, this is Firefly Lane by Riley Hart. This is the beginning of a new series, the Briar County series. This is book 1. This is going to be about 2 men in their 40s finding love together. I guess I haven't really read too much into the synopsis. I know we have one of our characters will be returning home to, I believe, maybe help out his sister, and the other character is actually living or maybe renting from his sister. Holden Barnett is getting along just fine. His job as a pilot keeps him from getting restless, and he's got a man who doesn't want promises for the future. Yes, his sister needs his help, so he drops everything and heads to Harmony, a small town in Briar County, to help his sister. Then we have Monroe Covington. He loves his life running his store, helping at his family's farm, and spending days with his best friend Lindsay and their son Wyatt. He says sure, half the town likes to forget he's gay, and he'd love for the queer population to be bigger, but Roe makes do. He misses dating, relationships, and a man to hold at night, but at least he's got new eye candy when Holden, the brother of the woman who's renting his cabin, shows up. So that's all we're gonna read into. Small town, 2 men in their 40s. I'm all about it. Also releasing the 7th of September is The Charm Offensive. This is by Allison Cochran. Love, love, love the cover. So cute. This has the feel of like Bachelor, the TV series. I've never watched it. I've maybe watched it early on when it first came on, The Bachelor, but I've never really been that into it. But I love the concept of it. The whole drama thing is fun, but I've never really, after a couple seasons, I kind of lost interest. But anyway, this has like the feel of The Bachelor. We have a producer, the producer who's, producing the show, and then we have the Bachelor that's going to be on the show, and he seems to be like just this cranky kind of guy, like off camera, trying to date like 20 women. He doesn't know how to do it. It sounds really, really fun. It seems like they start to fall for each other, like the Bachelor and the producer. Seems like it's going to be a really good time, and I'm looking forward to it. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I skipped one. Let's take a break from the 7th, and let's go back to September 3rd, where Drilled was released. This is the 7th and final book in the Four Bears Construction series, which I'm very sad to say. I will miss these guys. They have been so much fun. In this book, we get some of the new members of the Four Bears Construction. We have Apollo and Ridge. Apollo was introduced maybe a couple books back, and Ridge was introduced in the last book. So he's a fresh new hire for the Four Bears Construction. And Apollo and Ridge have some sort of past together that is mentioned in Stripped, the last book that I read. Their relationship is sort of mentioned in that book, but we don't know what kind of relationship that they had. So I'm very intrigued to jump into this one very, very soon, because I want to know all the things about Apollo and Ridge. It says, a month in a remote cabin with the last man I ever expected to see again. Drilled is a forced proximity, best friends to enemies to lovers, hilarious and steamy final book in the Four Bears Construction series. It can be read as a standalone, but you won't miss You don't want to miss the whole hilarious and hot series. No bear shifters, only the other kind of burly, hairy bears. I love these books. They are just a breath of fresh air. They're just easy to read. They're so much fun. They're funny. Highly recommend the series if you have not got into the Four Bears yet. And lastly, well, not lastly, but last for releasing on September 7th, this is Act Cool by Tobey McSmith. I really enjoyed Stay Gold, so when I saw this coming out this month, I was like, I have to pick it up. I have to read this. This is about a trans teen. It says, a trans teen walks the fine line between doing whatever it takes for his acting dream and staying true to himself in this moving, thought-provoking YA novel from, of course, Tobey McSmith. We have a character named August Green that's going to be starting at the Performing Arts in New York, a school of performing arts in New York. His parents don't really agree with, or they're not accepting his transgender. So he stays with his aunt in the city. Who is August when the lights go down? And where will he turn when the roles start hitting a little too close to home? So I can't wait to dive into this one. This next book comes out on September 14th. This is Nice Girls by Catherine Dang. Yes, Catherine Dang. The cover just really spoke to me. It sounds really good as well. There seems to be, in the little thing that I read online, it has a true crime podcast feel. So after seeing that, that kind of drug me in a little bit more. It seems like a local, like kind of famous girl goes missing. I think like maybe a social media star. Olivia Willard, a rising social media star, goes missing. And then it goes on to say, so we're following a girl named Mary. And she also believes that her disappearance, Olivia's disappearance, is tied to another missing person, a 19-year-old girl named DeMaria Jackson, whose disappearance has gone under the radar. So she thinks the two disappearances are linked and starts looking into them, from what I can tell by just kind of scanning over what I read. But the cover and then mentioning true crime podcasts in the little blurb about it, I was like, let me give this a go. Okay, now this I have really been looking forward to for a long time. I knew it was in the works, didn't know when it was going to be coming about, and then all of a sudden it popped up in an email and I was like, it's finally here. Well, not yet, but it will be on September 16th. This is Gone But Not Forgotten by Charlie Cochet. This is the first book in the new series, her 10 series, T-I-N. This is coming off of the third series that she wrote. So we're going back to Dex and Sloan, y'all. I am so ecstatic. At the end of the third series, I don't want to give too much away if you haven't read it and you want to read it, but Dex and Sloan and our other members of the thirds that we love dearly, let's just say they're moving on to bigger and better things. So now we're gonna follow them as they become 10. I don't remember what 10 means, y'all. Therian Intelligence Network. I can't even talk. I'm so excited about this book. It's gonna be the best. Dex is just like my favorite overall character ever. Codename Chaos, former Thirds agent turned 10 operative Dexter J. Daly is a legend. Just ask him, he'll tell you. Chaos isn't so much a code name as it is Dex's state of being, which is so true. And then we have Sloan, codename Atlas, as former team leader for Destructive Delta and now a 10 operative. Sloan Daly knows what it feels like to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. But no matter the challenge, Sloan knows that together he and his husband Dex can overcome anything. I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait. I want this book in my hand. future me here. Later last night, I remembered that I forgot to tell y'all about a very important book that I, probably because I'm currently reading it, but that is Hunting the Merman by Aramis Jordan. This book will come out on September 25th. Aramis was very kind to send me an art copy, so thank you so much. I am super excited about Christian and Tarlis' story. I think this is Tarlis, is that how you say his name? T-A-R-L-I-S. Tarlis is one of the mermen that captured the sailors from the last book. If you haven't read Escaping the Merman, I highly recommend it. This is a series, so I'm guessing and hoping we're gonna get a book for each captive and their merman. So the first book was Ariane, who was a merman, and Fernando, who was our human. He was not necessarily, I guess, the captain of the ship. He wasn't the captain because Christian is the captain. But Fernando was like the owner of the ship. And the rest were his crew. So next we're hearing from Captain Christian, or is it, yeah, Captain Christian Anderson is his name, and Tarlis is the merman. They have sort of a very hate relationship. Christian, from what I gather, hated that he was captured by this merman, but loved what the merman was doing to him, but didn't want to love it, kind of thing. So I'm super excited to get into the second book. I love a good hate to lovers kind of story, and I fell in love with Ariane from the last book. I'm getting the names all tangled up in my mind. Fell in love with him. He had like the kindest heart. So these mermen, mermen are known to be like cursed creatures or evil creatures. These mermen, they want to give pleasure to their captors. They cannot have pleasure themselves, although you need to read the first book, but they get pleasure from giving their other partner pleasure. It's very interesting and very good. The writing is phenomenal. It does say it can read as a standalone. This one, I was told, has a little bit BDSM in it, so I'm anxious to get into that and see what that is. I haven't really got into like hardcore BDSM, but I have read some BDSM in my MML romance reading, but I'm into it. I can't wait to read their story. It will be out on the 25th for y'all, but I will definitely let y'all know how I feel about this second book. Moving forward to September 28th, we have The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. I hope I'm saying that correctly. We have a blurb from Stephen King that says, a true nerve shredder that keeps its mind-blowing secrets to the very end. I believe this is more on the horror side. The cover, for one, drew me in once again, and then I learned that it's going to be a book club pick for October, I believe. It says it's perfect for fans of Gone Girl and The Haunting of Hill House, which I've actually never read The Haunting of Hill House. But I have read Gone Girl and absolutely loved it. It has a very sharp synopsis. I don't know anything about this book. I saw the cover and I was just like, that looks intriguing. So I just wrote it down, kind of briefly scanned over the synopsis, but it says, in a boarded up house on a dead-end street at the edge of the wild Washington woods lives a family of 3. A teenage girl who isn't allowed outside, not after last time. A man who drinks alone in front of his TV, trying to ignore the gaps in his memory. And a house cat who loves napping and reading the Bible. What? When a new neighbor moves next door, what is buried out among the birch trees may come back to haunt them all. I don't know. That doesn't tell me much, and that's okay. But the cat reads a Bible? This is gonna be fun. Also releasing on September 28th, I think this is another horror genre type of read. This is Summer Suns by Lee Mandello. I've never read anything by this author. It says, a southern summer in book form. Hot and hungry and haunting. I couldn't put it down. This is a blurb by Alex E. Harrow. Once again, the cover intrigued me. I believe it has some LGBTQ plus representation in there. So that kind of drew me in as well. Andrew and Eddie did everything together. Best friends bonded more deeply than brothers until Eddie left Andrew behind to start his graduate program at Vanderbilt. And then it moves on to say that Eddie apparently dies of a suicide, an apparent suicide. He leaves Andrew a horrible inheritance, a roommate he doesn't know, friends he never asks for, and a gruesome phantom with bleeding wrists that mutters of revenge. So Andrew starts to look into Eddie's death is what I'm gathering, and he just discovers lots of things, a circle of hot boys, fast cars, and hard drugs that ruled Eddie's nights. So yeah, sounds fun. We'll see what it's all about. And lastly, but certainly not least on my list, once again coming out on September 28th, this is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. This is the final book in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It says the finale to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is what it's called. So this is book 3, the last book. I haven't even got into book 2 yet, but I love the first book so much. I'm ready to dive into book 2. It says it reads like your favorite true crime podcast or show. By the end, you'll never think the same of Good Girls again. Okay, we're not gonna read any more, because I don't know what happens in the second book, but I'm ready to get into both of these, or both of the last 2 of them. All right, y'all, that is it for my upcoming new releases in September. I'll try to get October out sooner for y'all. But like I said before, I know I missed some good ones out there, so let me know in the comments if there's anything that I didn't mention that you're looking forward to. If you think I will like it, let me know in the comments down below. As always, I hope you're all doing well out there and staying safe. Hugs from me all around, and I will see y'all very, very soon in a new video. Bye, y'all.